No, I think the Open Cup is a really um, a special tournament in the history of American soccer, right? Being the oldest tournament that there is, the opportunity for any team in at any level to kind of participate and work their way through, and that's the beauty of our sport is that uh, everyone kind of gets that opportunity through this. So we view it as a really special opportunity for us to compete in the tournament. It's a tournament that we'll take seriously. One because it's owed that level of respect. um, Two, we know that it's a opportunity to win a trophy, and as a club, any trophy that we can compete for, we want to compete for it, and also that we know it's a vehicle to bigger tournaments as well that are aligned with, I would say, some of the larger, longer term visions of the club, to try to compete against some of the best in North America. So a lot of reasons for us to take it seriously, and something that we are proud to compete in.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with Ben, and as always, go ahead and have two if you have them.
BJ, there probably aren't a ton of other times where you get to play a team in state. Just what kind of opportunity is that for Nashville, who's still kind of trying to grow as a club and kind of expand the fan base?
No, I think it's great. It's a great opportunity to play a team from in-state, and I think it's just a testament to, let's say, soccer in Tennessee that we're able to support so many different levels of professional soccer. And yeah, there's because we play in different leagues. There's not going to be a lot of crossover, and so it's a special time, I think, for not only soccer fans in Nashville, but for I think for the entire state to kind of be on display. And again, to I think we all have a responsibility to continue to grow the game, and this is a special, unique chance for all of us to kind of grow the game in Nashville, grow the game in the state.
And then obviously you mentioned wanting to take the tournament seriously. At the same time, just a busy schedule as it is, even without the U.S. Open Cup. Without asking to give anything away for tomorrow, just what are you expecting in terms of like any rotation tomorrow? And do you even anticipate any guys from like Huntsville being involved, or is it strictly Nashville?
Yeah, so I would say it's going to be strictly Nashville players. There'll definitely be rotation, not only because of the congestion now, but even the there's a little bit of a tight window coming from Saturday to Tuesday instead of many times Saturday to Wednesday. Um, but again, I think the team that we're going to put out there is going to be a strong team, and a team that has had the opportunity now to prepare itself, over 2 full days. So we're happy with the preparation that's gone in, and expect the performance that we have standards and expectations around here, and we expect the performance to be that level.
Jacob?
Yeah, BJ, when you were with the Philadelphia Union, you reached the U.S. Open final 3 times in 5 years, and I guess what do you feel made those teams so successful in that U.S. Open Cup setting, and I guess what maybe parts of that do you think you can take here to your approach to the tournament now with Nashville?
Yeah, I would say for us it was those groups were teams, and everyone played a role in it, and that's what you started to realize. Different guys were given different opportunities, and not only to play, but sometimes guys had to play different positions. And when you go 120 minutes, and when you go to PKs, like there's so many opportunities to make an impact to the group. And that's what you learn. You learn that any moment your number is called, you know, it's a when they become knockout games, like the intensity goes up a little bit, the pressure goes up a little bit, and you can learn a lot about your group. And those shared experiences can be really a galvanizing and effect and a catalyst to the rest of the team's season. So for us, we expect we expect the opportunity for guys to step up and put in good performances. But you really learn that competing through the Open Cup, you're going to use everybody and the true sense of a team.
And what have you gotten to find out know about the Red Wolves without obviously giving too much away? What are you maybe expecting from them and their play style?
Yeah, I mean, I think you see a team that's got a really clear identity, a really clear structure to the way that they play, which tells me that they're well coached, cohesive team unit. Dangerous attacking guys. The guy Bentley up top's got a bunch of goals, and then you can see that regardless of the level of competition they faced in this Open Cup, they've risen to that challenge. Again, beating another in-state another in-state team, and then going to play a USL championship team with Las Vegas and winning in penalties. So a team that's really battle tested in the tournament and has shown that they can go the distance and compete and win at the end. So a team that we will not take lightly, because they've had the opportunity to play some Open Cup games and to really pressure test themselves. And we're just entering the tournament now. So again, expect a real, I would say, physical, competitive game tomorrow.
So in a game like this, BJ, even though because so little about the team, is obviously not that like the rivals that you probably sometimes face twice a year in the MLS. How did your coach actually say, well, this is the way we're going to prepare against this team? Is it just what you want to do as a team, or how much of that input can you get to actually face it?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is, like, nowadays you can get video on everybody. So, we prepared for them just like we've prepared for any opponent, regardless of who we play. The same exact process, the same meeting schedule, the same training schedule, the same, treating it exactly the same inside our week with our group. So I think we have a pretty good understanding of who they are as a team and what they're trying to do. You are right that it may be from the individual standpoint, we might not know the players as well, but credit to them that they have a very consistent group, a very consistent way of playing, and I think they're gonna be really good at what they do, and it's just a matter of us being prepared for that and being able to do what we do at an effective level.
Is it fair to say then that winning a tournament like this, because of the amount of teams that play and the history behind all of them, is probably maybe it's just as hard as the MLS title?
Yeah, I think we talk about winning any trophy is hard, right? Like, and it's an accomplishment either way. And so for us, like, we're about that. Like, we want to win trophies when they're presented, and that's I think a great goal to have, and this is an opportunity to do that. And the fact that it is a historical tournament is just a little extra special.
We'll move to the Zoom and we'll go to Bauer then Nick.
Hey BJ, you mentioned that it's going to be a strictly Nashville squad. Now we've seen teams rotate a little bit more with their second team in this competition at this round. What's the reason for kind of keeping it all Nashville for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we have great depth in the group already, and so those guys for right now, I think that they've been making commitment the whole season, so they deserve the opportunity. So for us, it's about making, and also when we look at it, we want to continue to get these guys minutes and playing in meaningful competitions and meaningful games, because we know we're going to count on them not only in the month of May, but also all the way through the season, especially when we get to the dog days of summer. So the more that this group can play and be cohesive, I think it'll pay dividends for us. And as well, these guys deserve the opportunity to play. We're going to rely on our depth. Everyone's going to make a contribution, and we said that from the beginning.
And just on that, how do you evaluate a game against an opponent a couple divisions below you versus a game with an opponent in the same division as you? Is it different, the evaluation of those players' performances tomorrow?
No, I think we have a very clear way. We're going to have very clear objectives on what we're trying to accomplish with and without the ball. And the idea is that we have our standards, we have our expectations, and we expect to execute. And that's how, when we reflect on the game tomorrow, that's how we'll do it, just like we do every single game. Are we able to execute the ideas that we set out to and the objectives that we set out to?
Go ahead, Nick.
BJ, obviously Walker has been, status quo week to week, but that injury, his head injury there. Is there any update, any progress on all that?
No, same status quo. Exactly. Okay. The same update as it's been.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Nick?
I'm all good.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, BJ. We'll
Great.
be right back with Josh.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, very excited to be back in the tournament. Oldest tournament in the U.S., which is exciting. Anytime you have a chance to play for a trophy, it's an opportunity that you look forward to, and we're definitely excited to be back in it after missing out on it last year or not being in it last year. Yeah, I looked ahead to Chattanooga, started looking at them this week, after Atlanta, and prepared the same way we prepare for any team. And we definitely, they're going to come in excited and ready to play a big MLS team. We can get some of these lower division, smaller teams coming in there. It's, really exciting for them. And they're thinking they can, pull one over on us, and we're going to be ready for it.
Great. We'll start in the room and then go to the Zoom.
Yeah, Josh, this feels like one of the only times that you get to play some kind of in-state teams just in this tournament. What's that like from your perspective, playing some of those teams?
Yeah, is this the first time that these two clubs have played each other? Is that what I saw? Yeah. That's exciting too. Just the Battle of Tennessee kind of. It's exciting. It's another little narrative that you can put around the game and build up some hype for it. And I think it's really cool that you get opportunities like this, not only for them but for us, to be able to put out some teams and maybe get some guys in who haven't been playing a lot of minutes and just seeing where we stack up. So,
and then you mentioned just kind of how historic this tournament is. I know it's kind of gone through some ups and downs recently, but where does this kind of stack up in your perspective, just kind of in the landscape?
I love it. I think it's really fun. I mean, you get to see a lot of, they talk about the magic of the cup and cup sets and all that, and it's super fun to see. Obviously we're hoping that doesn't happen tomorrow. But I think it's a great tournament. And I'd love to play in it every year. I think you just see so many cool storylines and a lot of in-state rivalry games and stuff like that all across the country. And any of these tournament style games are super fun.
Yeah, Josh, about a third of the way through the MLS season now. Going in feels like maybe third season over, a couple months down. I guess, where do you feel this team is Nashville SC in related to maybe where you expected to be at this point in the season?
We try and not set expectations and just kind of really just focus on us from within. Obviously we have our own expectations, and I would call them more goals that we're trying to achieve and reach. But I think, you said it. We talked about it actually this week. We're about a third of the way through the season, and I think after the month of May, we're going to be almost at the halfway point. So it's a quick uptick with this month coming. And, I think we feel like we're in a good spot. We've had some good results. We've had some results where we feel like maybe we could have gotten more out of, and opportunities that we left, a little more to be desired. But I think on the whole, we're positive, we're confident, and we have a lot left to play for. There's going to be stretches in the season where maybe you aren't getting the results you want, and it's about how you overcome those and move forward, because it's a long season, like you said, and plenty of time to keep pushing for our goals.
You mentioned I think you're opening statement that you expect Chattanooga to come out pretty motivated, hungry to take down a top division team. I guess, how do you match that kind of intensity and motivation? Maybe you won't be necessarily motivated for the same reason, but how do you match that?
Yeah, I think I said earlier too, we prepare the same way. So we don't take this game any differently, and no matter what lineup we put out there, we have full confidence in the guys who go out there that we're going to be able to win the game. I think for us, when you have those guys who are coming in, it's a little bit of extra motivation for them to maybe prove why they should be out there more often, or try and just fight for each other and earn spots within the team, because it's a competitive group we have this year. And I think just not changing anything and staying focused and not looking at them as an inferior opponent. And at the end of the day, we're playing at home in front of good fans at Geodis, and we're excited for that opportunity. They got to come to us, even though it's in state, but they're going to be playing out of their comfort zone a little bit. So I think we look forward to it.
Josh, besides keeping the same approach in terms of preparation, has it been any different conversation at all with perhaps the new guys that never played this tournament, like with somebody like you who's been there before?
Not a whole lot different. I think some of the differences that we've talked about is just in terms of the structure of how it works. Obviously if you finish in a tie, you got to go into extra time and penalties if it were to come down to that. So just being aware of what those are, what that is like. But no, I wouldn't say anything's majorly different. Like I said, we prepare the same way, and at the end of the day, it's another soccer game, and it's something we've been doing for our whole lives, and it's definitely a good opportunity to go out there and play in, like we said, a cup format, which is a little more exciting, just naturally. But no, I wouldn't say anything like crazy different.
Obviously, the competition will be different because of they are a lower level team. But in terms of what you actually face playing in the pitch, does it become more dangerous because of what they're trying to accomplish? That they think they can actually beat a professional team, and they're not going to have any more opportunities maybe in a year or more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be easy to get caught up in that and looking at them and saying, oh, they're a lower team and stuff like that. But we know what they bring to the table, and we've prepared for them, and I think we're going to be able to handle that on the field. And if they do have moments in the game where they get momentum, I think we're going to be prepared for that, and it's all about how we respond in those moments, which we've shown that we can do at any level.
We'll go to the Zoom. We'll start with Bill there, then go to Nick.
Yeah, Josh, when we asked you earlier this season about your position, you said you're probably more naturally a center back, but obviously you've been playing right back for a while now. At what point does right back just become your position, I guess?
I'm someone who will play wherever the coach needs me to play, and wherever the team needs me to play. So if that's right back for the whole year, that's right back for the whole year. If it's right back here, center back there, wherever it is, I'm just going to be focused at doing my role and doing whatever I can to help the team. And I'm not really too concerned with, exactly where that is. If it's right back, great. If it's center back, great. But yeah, that's where I stand on that.
And just in terms of preparation for the opponent, I know you said it's the same. In terms of how you do that as a player, not as a team, but you personally. When you see opponent, are you doing a lot of video work? Are you doing a lot of sort of studying on the opponent? What does that process looks like for you?
Yeah, definitely video. That's something we're pretty big on here is, scouting our opponent to the best of our ability. I think the biggest difference for us this week is just with the quick turnaround. Obviously, having played in Atlanta on the weekend and having to come back and turn around and play on Tuesday, only a few days later. So it's kind of shortened up our window of time for preparation. And you obviously have guys who played at the weekend who are coming into training and regen and, a little bit of moving pieces everywhere. So I think that's been like the only difference. But, you can make up for those in other areas, like you said, with watching video and preparing. I think we had a pretty big group of academy guys come up yesterday for training, just to be a sparring team that we could go against and see pictures on the field. So we've adapted, and we're prepared.
Go ahead, Nick.
Josh, going into this season, this defensive core, in my opinion, I feel like has exceeded expectations in some regard. Now they have your defensive core has 6 goals. 2 of those are contributed to yourself. What do you see going into this Chattanooga game? Do you think that this defense core can actually kind of lead to more goal opportunities against this lower level side?
Yeah, I think it's great that we've been getting contribution from a lot of guys and defenders in terms of goals and also assists. It's been really great to see. But I think, first and foremost, we want to focus on keeping the ball out of our own net and, taking those opportunities when they do come, when we're higher up the field. But I think it goes back to kind of what I said after the Montreal game, the press conference with you guys, is that anyone on this team in any given moment can make a difference or make an impact and score a goal. And, credit to BJ and the staff for setting us up and getting us in those positions and giving us the confidence that when we do get there that we can, create and make a moment of impact for the team.
All right. Thanks, Josh. Thank you.
All good.
See you.
Yeah. So, I guess what has been the biggest emphasis is going into this U.S. Open Cup match, especially, coming off of, obviously there's going to be, a lot of games in this month, a lot of games at a pretty short stretch. I guess what's your focus going in and just, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the same focus that we approach every game. With a possible 9 games in May, we want to win every single one. And, we want to bring the first trophy to the state of Tennessee. And, the Open Cup is a great opportunity for us. It's the longest standing tournament for U.S. soccer. So to be able to get into CONCACAF through that would be fantastic. So we're taking it very seriously.
You've played obviously a bunch in the Open Cup before with Nashville and USL now in MLS. Just kind of what's your thought on the tournament as a whole? Just being able to play against teams from all different levels of the U.S. soccer pyramid.
Dude, I love it. You know, like as a kid, you watch like the FA Cup and you hear about stories of teams going so far. And I think you would know this more than me. There was like a restaurant team out that beat.
Oh yeah.
Monterey Bay, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's so cool. You know, that's epic, and that's what this whole thing is about. And for us, you know, as cool as those stories are, we're trying to write our own. And so, you know, to have that focus and approach every game with respect, but also with the mentality of rising and winning is what we're all about.
You talked about wanting to get Tennessee's first trophy.
Yeah.
Obviously, entering the round of 32, you're a theoretical 4 wins away from that. Just how exciting is that?
That's awesome, you know. But we can't get ahead of ourselves. You know, day by day, the Lord's put our feet right here on this day, Cinco de Mayo. So, you know, we have the game tomorrow, and we'll go from there.
Now, usually, of course, you know more about the MLS teams because you face them, most of them, twice a year. But in a case like this, when you get to a team that you never play against, perhaps you know nothing about it. I mean, I understand that you guys prepared the same, but
yes.
What is that cycle of saying, well, we never played these guys? They could be really good. They could be, I mean.
Yeah, I think to be honest, like it's the professional mentality. You know, it doesn't matter if you're playing against Atlanta or if you're playing against Chattanooga. We go with the same mentality. We approach set pieces the same. We analyze how they play. But we stick to how we play. You know, like that's the beautiful thing about this chapter is that we have a brilliant style of attacking football, and we're going to do our best tomorrow.
Now, do you guys see it also as an opportunity for those who don't usually start with the team as an opportunity to show the coach, well, maybe you got to try me some more minutes in other games?
It's I've always said. I think you guys always ask me this question. It's like whenever you're called upon, it's rising to the occasion. You know, for me, like how I think it is, and whenever the Lord calls me to play, and the manager puts my name on the team sheet, I do my best to glorify Him. And every guy does that. They want to help this team. They want to win games, and that's all we can do.
You know, I guess you know in 2023, obviously you went to the Leagues Cup. You know, you were struggling in league play. You came in, you made it to the final there, I guess. And I'm kind of using that as maybe an example, jumping off point for I guess. How do you treat going from MLS to Open Cup, whatever, any other cup competition? Is it more I guess how much are you thinking of like carrying over the form you came in with from league play, and how much of it is also just like maybe seeing it as like a fresh slate in a way?
Yeah, how I approach it is every game is the same for me. It doesn't matter if we're playing Open Cup, doesn't matter if we're playing Leagues Cup, doesn't matter if we're playing league play. Like we're all competitors, we all want to win, and it doesn't matter what the other team's name is. We want to go out and win. Like I think for us, if you look at the way we attack Chicago, it's like we know that we have the capability to do things like that. So let's try and do the best that we can to re-emphasize and do all those things. And I think to answer your question, it's just like to have that same mentality, no matter what the game is or no matter what the format is.
What's it like playing another in-state team? That doesn't happen too much for you guys.
Yeah, so true. It's cool, for them, it's they're 3 hours from us, right? Yeah. I've never really been. We went one time to Chattanooga and USL for a preseason game. But yeah, I mean, it's an in-state rivalry, so I think it's a fantastic opportunity for the state of Tennessee and for fans who are Nashville SC fans, but also people from Chattanooga who come up and watch the game at Chiodas.
Have you gotten the feel or sense for what Chattanooga will like to do or tries to do, or
of course, yeah. I always debate with you guys, like, do I talk about it, like, do I go in depth? And I'll leave that to BJ because they do a phenomenal job of preparing for us. We've had meetings this morning, numerous ones already. We go off a game from Atlanta and we're already into it with Chattanooga. And I think it's super cool too. I was in a coffee shop in Atlanta before the game and I saw John working on the video that we watched today. So it's like they're always prepared, which makes our job so much easier.
Taylor, when you look at yourself coming from USL with this team and all the stuff that you've gone through the years, how do you say Taylor Washington is different today from that guy that started with the team?
I say thank God. Oh my days! I think from the days when we were off asking each other to play FIFA, but I mean, dude, like I'm still have like I'm still like a kid. I always view myself like a kid, but what the Lord's done in my life through Nashville SC, through all my teammates, through the coaches who've come through, it's humbling. I always say that too. Like, I get to learn from some of the best players in MLS, but I also have seen myself grow from like a really immature kid to a less immature kid. And just the Lord's been pulling at my heart to fall more in love with him, to emulate more of his behaviors and try and glorify him. And I'm a broken dude, but he loves me.
Have you become better playing FIFA or just as bad?
Oh, worse. And I got worse in Verdansk too. Yeah, let me tell you. But yeah, less video games. That's what definitely has happened since I've come here.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Taylor.
Thanks,
Awesome.
sweet.
Guys.